So moving on to one of the sad news that we have today. Um, the headline reads: A teen girl in India was stabbed to death in public, reigniting outrage over violence against women. So there was a security video
Mm.
lasting well over a minute that was going viral on social media, and it was showing the brutal stabbing and like bludgeoning of a 16-year-old girl in a busy public alleyway in the capital of India, New Delhi. Like you got to think about how populated India is and then how populated New Delhi is. And so you know, you can, if you want to, I don't recommend you search for the video. It's very well, they blur it out, but it's still like
Disturbing.
you can see what he's doing to her, and it's very, very disturbing. But outside of what he's doing to her, it's really the people that are walking past the whole thing. So you see on the video people sort of just looking back, kind of like what's happening, and then kind of just moving forward. You see other people sort of seeing what's happening and then running away, and then like no one has stopped. No one stops. No one even like stops to see what's happening. Like, people just walk past it and move on, and then some people even, according to witnesses, have videoed, like took their phones out and videoed like what was happening on their phone, and sort of just becoming bystanders essentially, to the incident. We're just gonna call it that.
Oh,
and
subhanallah, brother.
and so I think that really speaks, and I think that's so much that speaks volumes to exactly what you were just saying, Hussein. Like people are in this mind state of just like, mind my business, man. I don't want to get involved. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to get involved.
It is insane. It's something similar happened to it, but talking about this topic, brother, that's crazy
It is.
to see a young man doing this act, and people. I mean, some people yes ran, but others were like looking. They know what's happening, but they just walked off. They're like, I don't know her, I don't know him. Keep going, keep doing what I do. And that's insane. I mean, we can blame it on the people, but at the same time, it's the lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah. I think.
You know what?
Go.
I'm saying. I wonder what I would do because thinking about that, I'm like, of course, I would have stopped it. I would have been there, but because of the society we live in, would I have stopped it? Would I have ran? Would I have just froze? Like nobody knows what they would have done in that situation. I hope that I would have tried to stop it. I hope that I would have at least shouted or something. I hope that I would have made some sort of attempt. But would I have, especially when you see other people run, when the first person runs and the second person runs and the third person runs, and then people are just walking by and ignoring it.
It is the herd
Like
mentality, isn't it?
it's herd mentality, yeah. It's like you have to fight against the herd mentality, but we are made to go by the herd mentality.
But
Like
the
one
What?
person does something, you
just
follow.
just to go off of what you're saying, just real quick too, though, it's just like none of them, like, I hear what you're saying in terms of would I go try to help. You can make the argument that some people didn't want to jump in because he was holding, like, he was stabbing her, so he was holding a
A
weapon,
knife, yeah.
right? So, but like, cool, like, no one screamed, no one shouted for help, no
Mm,
one, like, I don't know if they have an emergency number in India, but no one called like the police. Nothing
they do.
happened. Nothing happened. Like,
Mm,
people were just watching it, um as it kind of played out.
man.
And so I was telling, so in our pre-production meeting, I was telling Muslim that one of the articles nearly made me cry, and it was this article. And the thing that nearly made me cry, I'm gonna say it now. Hopefully you guys, I don't know if you're gonna cry. I hope you don't cry, because it's gonna make me cry if I see you cry. It's some of the quotes from the father of the victim. His name is Janak Raj, and he says, "I saw my daughter was lying on the ground with her face to the ground. Her organs had come out and her head had been smashed in. She lay there lifeless. There was no point in taking her to a hospital. It angers me to know that no one helped my daughter. If they had helped her, she would have been alive today. I also heard that the bystanders were busy filming videos of the incident. Even if they had screamed, it would have helped my daughter." He mentions that his daughter helped with the family's finances by tutoring, and then he adds, "I don't feel alive today," as he cries. "I miss her so much. She was such a good child. What do I do?" And it, like it, because there must be like, to a certain, again, we're people with no children, but there must be something
Mhm.
like to a certain degree you can probably feel empathetic towards a father who is supposed to, who probably feels like they're supposed to be the guardians of their family,
Mm.
especially in certain things. And to know that that happened to your daughter, for example, and you weren't there to help, one, but two, to find
Mm.
out other people weren't there to help in such a busy traffic, um, high traffic area. Like you, it's impossible to know what this man is going through. And all you can really hope for is just that he's surrounded by people who know how to help him at this point in time, and
Mm.
how to take care of him, and all these type of things, because that's tough, man. That's tough. That's tough.
No, that's really tough. And I really hope that he stays strong because when incidents like this happen to a father, they always tend to think too hard and forget about the people around them. Like even though you did lose a child, which is unfortunate, you do still have other people who rely
Mm,
on you, and you do have to sadly move on and
yeah.
live life. But this is just insane. I mean, regardless of the motive, if there was a backstory or not, it was still a very high trafficked area. People were walking, looking,
There's
and
never,
do
bro. There's never anything a person can do to you that, well, to me anyway. There's never anything that can really evoke the emotions of stabbing a person, a 16-year-old girl, as a man in public for over a minute. Well, the video captured a minute. Do you know what I mean? It's, yeah. So really, in just to sort of close it all out, um, do you then think that because this happened in New Delhi, but this mentality of mind my business, it's not a New Delhi thing. This is a big city thing. It happens in New
Mm.
Mhm.
York. It happens in LA. It happens in London. It happens in Tokyo. It happens in these like high traffic, massive from a young age anyway. That there needs to be like a sort of a push campaign for a lack of better word, to just remove this mentality of mind my business for certain things. I mean, like if you see something wrong that's happening, at the very least, like figure out how to call 911 or 999,
Yeah.
or figure out how to call the police on like certain things.
I
There's an
think the
advert.
issue
I'll go on.
lies there. No, you go, but I would just say the issue is there as well. Is when you get police involved. Police is firstly, police is not always involved. Sorry, police is not always available. Because of how life is nowadays. Anyway, um, response time is not going to be that great. But even if you know the person and you report it and whatnot, there's still the scare of them coming back to you, depending on the area that you live in. Let's say in London, for example, it recently happened the same thing. A guy was having his meal in a restaurant, a full house, right?
Yeah.
A couple of guys walk in, stab him to death on his chest multiple times.
Yeah.
The guy was laying on the table, bleeding out to death, right? A
Mm.
guy comes in and takes a video. My man is dying out here, and he got his 10-second fame, right? While a person lost their life.
Yeah. Listen.
So I think it's the scare practice as well.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say there was an advert I saw on the bus, and it was to do with like harassment, and there was a bunch of people basically, and it was like, what would you do or what would you say? And it gives like different options. Like one person is like that, well, it's like their thoughts, and then one person's like, I'm gonna say something. One person's like, I'm gonna tell the driver. Another person's like, I'm gonna um I don't know, I'm gonna call the police or whatever it is. But like, and then it's around harassment. I think there are campaigns around it, but it's very niche in terms of like specific things. You know, I think like on transport, the train and the bus, it's unfortunately a more common than it should, where women are like sexually harassed, right? Especially when everyone's close together. Um, uh, yeah, so there is a campaign for that. I don't know how you would do a campaign for just like look after each other. I don't know. I think it's just a mentality. Like
Yeah.
I was, I did like we did DOV, like Duke of Edinburgh Award, and we did like the expedition. And that's the first time I properly went like outside of London. Like I've been outside of London before, but it was just to friends' house, like
Right.
my
Right.
parents' friends and stuff. So I didn't actually like talk to strangers. And I remember when we went on the expedition, and so the expedition is like a walk, like a trek that we have to do.
Right.
And I remember walking, and someone said hi to us.
Right.
And me growing up in London, that was so strange. Like I was like, where do I know you from? That was my first thing. Where do I know?
Yeah.
Do I know you? Who are you?
Right.
And they were like, good morning. And I think me and my friends, we didn't even like reply. We didn't say good morning to the first person because we kind of just looked at each other like, who is this weirdo saying good morning to us?
Right.
Anyway, let's move on. And then we kept walking, and then it's like a walking trail. So another person said good morning, and we were like, good morning.
Right.
And it just kept going. And then eventually, and this was like a few hours later, I saw someone. I was just like walking down the street, good morning, or like good afternoon. They're like, good
Right.
afternoon. Bro, I loved it. It
Yeah,
was so
100%.
nice and it felt natural. And I've lived in London my entire life. But yeah, it's just the London mentality. I don't know what could be done. I don't think anything can be done. Like what can we do? You say hi to someone, people get offended. I was on the bus once, and I looked at someone the wrong way. This is the first time. I've never had it where I've looked at someone the wrong way and they've gotten offended.
Yeah.
And I didn't even look at this person. I looked, so like they were sitting on the bus, like near the back of the bus.
Right.
I looked past them out of the window to
Right.
see, because I was on the bus. I was going to switch to another bus to see if that bus was there. And as I looked, the guy gets up and he's
Right.
like, "Oh, why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?" And he like squares up to me, and he's like trying to. And my wife was with me at the time as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, that's never happened before. Somebody has been like,
Confrontational over something.
like,
Something so trivial.
just you, yeah.
Yeah.
You looked at me like I thought that was a childish thing. Like I remember it happening.
Is.
Like when
And
I
it
was
is.
in
It
school.
is. Don't get it mistaken. Just because an adult did it doesn't stop. It is still childish, and that man was being
Yeah,
childish.
yeah. Of course. Well, I don't think he was being childish. I think he was just like troubled.
Yeah.
He maybe had
It was.
something going on in his life,
It's.
and I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, he
a
just came up
defense
to me. He was
mechanism.
just,
It's a defense mechanism.
yeah,
Yeah, to a
because of
certain degree.
things going on in his life. So yeah, I accepted it as that. But yeah, and luckily, actually, talking about like people helping, like I was there. He came up to me, and I was like, like standing in like the buggy, like wheelchair area. So he comes up to me, so I'm kind of like trapped in there, and my wife's next to me as well. And then he like comes up to me, my wife is there, and then he was like what, and then he was like, leave. He was like telling my wife, leave, get off the bus, get off the bus. And then my wife, I was proud of her. She didn't do it. I think she might have panicked a little bit, but she didn't do anything. And then I looked at her and I was like, yeah, you can get off. And then she got off. I was like, yes, listen to him. You listen to me. Um, and yeah, and then he was like, you're not getting off this bus. And I was like, yes, I am. And I didn't say anything to him at first. He was just like, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, you're not getting off this bus. And you're coming to the next stop. And at that point, now I'm like, nah, I'm, I'm getting off. And then I tried to get off. And he was like trying to block me, and I was ready to fight him. But then luckily, the back door was open of the bus, and some Somali like aunties, they were like, "Oi, leave him alone, leave him alone." And then the guy turned around, and he sees the Somali aunties, and he's like, "Oh, you're lucky, dust man." And then I was like, "Okay," and I just walked off. I was like, "Have a nice day." He's like,
Wait,
"You
how
too."
old was this guy?
You two were so aggressive. He was I don't know, he seemed like he was maybe in his late 20s is what I would guess. Um
Damn.
yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
Yeah,
some
but
people just
he
need to
just
go get a
seemed
job.
he just seemed troubled, man. Like I assume it was like a mental illness, or something along
Yeah.
those lines. And I wish him the best, and I hope he gets, whatever help or support that he needs in his life.
Yeah, it's just I don't. Yeah, like I don't know. I don't know what type of help. I don't know whatever. I don't know what type of campaign it would have to be, but
Mm.
something has to be done, man. Because
No, but
it's too
brother,
much, bro.
it's people like this who keep dying and end up in the news and making some other people look bad. It's because why are you being so, one day he could do it to the wrong person. Do you think he's gonna stay alive? You
Yeah,
Mm.
need to be careful.
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, because
just
I didn't do anything. Somebody else would have gone very
Yeah,
like
luckily
aggressive with him.
yeah,
yeah.
Mm.
Well, the suspect has been arrested. Um, so
Alhamdulillah, bro.
he is in jail. Obviously more investigations need to happen and all these types of things. But I mean, you were on
Yeah.
camera, so multiple cameras at least. So,
In jail in India, brother.
jeez, I mean, I have more quotes here.
But did you say Jizalu?
Yeah,
Like a Vindaloo?
no. Um,
uh,
I have a quote here actually, and then we're gonna finish off with this, from Yogita Bayana, founder of People Against Rapes in India. Oh, excuse me, it's trigger warning. Ugh, I did it late. Said the problem is largely rooted in old societal norms. We learn to live with this kind of situation in our country, which is very unfortunate. The basic patriarchal fabric is totally rotten, and right now we need to fix that. Putting cameras and putting marshals is not going to be enough. The work has to be done on the mindset of the men and the boys. Now, I don't want to speak towards like the stuff that happens in India, because I've not lived in India, so I wouldn't have experienced these type of things. But you do hear, like certain reports and certain things that go on in India, for example, and like how certain like actions that are committed by men towards women tend to go either underreported or unreported, in certain cases, because it just becomes so normal. And even to certain things where it's like, when it is reported, some of the victims are either not believed, or are even accused themselves of lying, for example, to
Yeah.
ruin, quote unquote, the reputations of the man. So I mean, I don't know how much of that is true, of course, but you do hear those type of reports coming out of India and all these type of things. So, we well, I suppose we'll just end with
thoughts and prayers.
thoughts and prayers to the father and the family and friends of the girl, man. We hope all the best for you guys moving forward. And you know what? Whilst we're in the thoughts and prayers,